Okay, welcome to the Real Boys Forum Virtual Meetup, the 17th edition. We started February 2014, and today we have the 17th edition. Once in a while, we have a joint meeting with the Real Guest Forum, which started like a year after the Real Boys Forum. And our passion basically is to be sure that of course, first of all, my own passion started from campus because I discovered that in our campus fellowship, most of the leaders were more interested in the girls. Everybody had girl mentees, they had daughters and all of those. And I'm like, so who is going to take care of the guys? So that became my own passion. So I began to go after the guys, you know, uh, like we'll pray together. I'll teach them tutorials. Sometimes I even took one or two guys maybe to an eatery just to have a conversation, that kind of thing. Because of course, life out there can be very hard. People had, just like me too. I mean, a lot of people have rough backgrounds, so a lot of people were just struggling and things like that. And then when it comes to the question of marriage, right, you have all kinds of events, sisters conference, women conference, but then you hardly see events like that for men. So that was where my own passion started out from. So we started out. So I mean, when thinking about it, but then for me, like I can be quite. Before I take a step, I can be quite, should I say, slow, because I want to look at all the variables and everything. But sometimes you just have to set out, and then you'll figure out the process along the line. Thank God for my wife. She went out, and she did a kind of questionnaire and asked guys that were very close to me about what they think I should be talking about that would be helpful to them. So, and she came back, and that was how we started January 1st, 2014. And interestingly, since that day, January 1st, 2024, I have written one article every day, and that is what led to the many books we've been writing all along. I think so far we have published 5 books. I think I have four or five already completed, and well, because the guys involved in the production process, they are changing. Like somebody just relocated to the US for master's program and all that. So I'm trying to not burden them so much for now until they are settled to do that. Okay, so I mean, enough about RBF. And okay, my name is Emmanuel Dansu. Okay, I think that I want to stop there. Let me just go around. You want to tell us one or two things you expect from today's event? So I'll start from our uh, programs lead, our social lead, Margaret Bankole. Just one word, one sentence or something. What you expect to learn from today, or anything you want to talk about for that matter. Please go ahead. And if you can't talk, you can type in the chat box. Over to you, Margaret. If you can take 30 seconds to 1 minute, that'll be great. And then we'll move on to Samuel Fadiji. Are you there, Margaret? Okay. If Margaret is not able to talk, then we move on to Samuel Fadiji. Samuel, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm a firm believer in the boy child myself, and alongside my friends, we are actually also working towards doing something in this line. So I'm quite open to everything that will be coming up on this platform today and maybe beyond. And that was the main reason why I actually joined. Immediately I saw it on your LinkedIn post. So I'm pretty much open to everything
Yeah,
today.
that's so lovely. You may want to visit
Yeah.
our past Real Boys virtual meetups. We've discussed a whole lot of things relating to marriage, finance, academics, career. I mean, we have 10 basic themes: academics, career, finance, fitness, leadership, marriage, parenting, personal development, relationships. I mean, relationships not in the context of marriage now, like general relationships. And finally, we talk about spirituality. Interestingly, in today's virtual meetup, we're going to be x-raying two of those aspects, that career and spirituality. Okay, so we'll move on to Magbi. Are you back? If Magbi is not there, then David Bono, are you there?
Yes, good evening. Good afternoon, sir.
Hello, scholar.
It's been a while.
Yeah,
I've
really.
attended the forum. Yes,
Okay.
so I'm hoping to
Are you a gold already, or you are
learn
still a
more
copper?
today. No, sir,
Are you a gold already, or you are still a copper?
I'm still a copper,
Oh,
sir.
I see that. Okay, okay, nice.
So knowing the speaker personally, I'm hoping to learn more from him today.
Yeah, interestingly, the speaker regards you very highly. Like I believe it must be one of his biggest mentees. It talks about how you keep in touch and all of that. Great job.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so we'll move on to our lead, um, programs lead. Ayode Sunday Timilane. Over to you. In fact, is I can say is one of the reasons why we're here today. Is in charge of our programs at RBF.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for uh, the opportunity.
Welcome.
So, today, like as we have career and our relationship with God, sometimes we can be overwhelmed by what we are doing in our work, and so at least I'm here to actually learn from other people's perspective and also to know, okay, maybe there are some personal challenges, how to juggle things together, like um work and God. So learn from other people's perspective, learn what they like, how they do their things, what can I use, and things like that. So thank you.
Thank you so much, our leader, Jubril Emmanuel, my namesake. Good to have you. Please go ahead and tell us something, Jubril. Okay, if Jubril is not there, can we go to my dear sister Tolulokbe?
Okay. Thank you. I think the only thing I want to say is that sorry, I've got noise in my background.
Yeah, that's how we
All
do
right.
it.
So sorry, can you go to another person?
Okay, that's fine. I go to Amefule, the data science guru.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone.
Long
So
time, man.
nice
Good
to be
to
here,
see you again.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, long time. Yeah, so one thing I'm excited for actually is I think this is personal, but every time I'm kind of like worried or caught up in something, I always go to Boys Forum to like get inspiration. Let me know, like.
Wow, that's so
And
good
every
to
time I
hear.
go to the platform, there's always something. There's always something to learn, something exciting that I always take out from it. So let's just say this platform is like my hideout to get information, clarity on something I'm struggling with. And I always come back feeling different every time I visit the platform. So I'm just looking forward to all the things that will happen today. Yeah.
Well, that's lovely. I mean, it gives us more energy to do more, right? Like, I mean, I know many people don't talk, but definitely there is something to learn anytime you come, because I mean every week we take a different aspect. Like this week was very hot as we related with the idea of marriage, talking about if a wife and husband can both have can both be high flyers without having issues and things like that. That was really I really like the ingenuity of our lead social who tagged specific people to it. All right, so we'll move on to the next person. Let me see. We'll move on to the next person. I want to check. Our speaker is trying to call. Let me see. Okay. Ayodiji, can you continue moderating, please?
Okay, sir. Um, okay, no problem, sir. Thank you very much. Like the next person here should be coming. David, have you like? I think David. Like anybody that have not like, if you know you have not maybe share one or two things, please can you just go ahead? I don't know where he stopped actually. Can you all hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Uh, like, can we have someone that maybe you have not been called? Can you just come up and say something?
Yes,
Let's
Mr. Jibril said something here. He said, I'll be glad to have a refreshing time here to unlearn,
oh,
learn, and relearn. Lovely, lovely. Yeah, I mean, that he spoke like an Emmanuel. That's lovely. Um, we also have Pratt and Dell. I mean, this person is so inspiring. He's a Cameroonian, he's in India, and I mean, I like his energy, his zeal. Like, he hardly misses our virtual meetups. That I mean, I really like to hear from you. Why are you this consistent?
Frankly speaking, this is my very first time of joining this kind of a group for ever since for the time I've been using WhatsApp. I've never had the privilege
Wow,
of joining a mentoring group. So I saw this as a very great
interesting.
advantage and opportunity to learn from the best. So
Wow, that's
as
so nice.
usual,
So, what are your expectations? Okay, sure.
my expectations, just as it was with the discussion last time on mental health, I'm looking forward to learning a lot from those who have gone ahead of me. So my expectations are very high.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, well, maybe it goes without saying that you've been so passionate because you've been learning a lot. Can I say that?
Yes, sir. Exactly.
Okay, okay. Yeah, my sister is ready. Can we have you, please?
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, it's a great privilege to be here. I think what caught my attention, I knew about this since it started, but I think what caught my attention is MIT and all of that. About 14 years ago, I crazily applied to MIT. I didn't get in.
I remember.
However, I didn't get it, but it was a high-opening experience for me. And I know the quality of scholars that do get in. And one thing personal, as a person, one of the things I like is when Christians are living their life and they are excelling. People think the only people that should carry the mandates of faith or Christianity are pastors. So I really like it when I see scholars. Well, hence why Emmanuel is my friend. And doing great and good things. So it's a privilege to be here and just to listen to the speaker. Thank you.
Right. So MIT did a number on you. That's lovely. Thankfully, we have an MIT professor who is a Christian who can share a lot with us. We have him in the house already. But before that, is there someone here who hasn't said something? Except Malgbe, are you ready now? Oh, Malgbe is not even in the house anymore. Or is this still there? Yeah, Malgbe, are you able to talk now? Okay, fine. So let's just go straight to welcome, dear Prof. We are very glad to have you here. We are very, very glad that you're here. People are already anticipating. We believe it's going to be such a great time. So, okay, now that you have shown your face, I think I have an incentive to show my face too. Thank you very much for your interest in these young people here. We are very glad to have you on board. Before I say the floor, I'll quickly read your bio sketch. Ericmoore Jossou. Of course, from the name already, if you hear Dansu Jossou, you can already begin to have ideas, right? Ericmoore Jossou is an assistant professor in the nuclear science and engineering and electrical engineering and computer science department at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, where he leads the materials in extreme environments group. Interestingly, I just saw something on his status. He submitted a paper, and the reviewer said, publish as is. I mean, that's a rare thing in academics. If you're in the academia, that's a very rare one that you submit a paper and they tell you just go ahead and publish. No need to edit. You can already imagine the kind of person we have. So before moving to MIT, he worked at Brookhaven National Laboratory. He received his PhD in mechanical engineering with concentration in material science in 2019 from the University of Saskatchewan. He has a BSc in chemistry from the Ahmadu Bello University and MSc Material Science and Engineering from the African University of Science and Technology in 2013. His research interest is in materials design for nuclear energy applications. He currently leads the Materials in Extreme Environments Research Group, which combines experiments with computational methods to establish structure properties, performance, relationships in materials for nuclear energy applications. So that's the kind of person we have today. And I'm very sure you're going to be so blessed listening to him talk about faith and career. Over to you there, Prof.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Funny thing is that I missed up the time. So based on my time body check, it was showing me that this was going to be 9 a.m. my time, which is like about an hour away.
Oh,
so,
right.
Yeah, but
So
I guess that's just the mister, which is fine.
Yes.
And I pretty much just got out of bed to come here.
I'm sorry. I wanted to be sure the timing was good for you. When you said yes, I was like, how is that going to be here?
That's fine. I tend to sleep very late and wake up a little late on Saturdays. It's when I try to get a little more sleep. But
very important.
But I usually like to be part of this kind of forum, and it's been a while I shared about my faith, with brothers in this sort of setting, and if you remember, I was just funnily reaching out. I'm like, oh, I'll be very happy to just hang out with folks I know and just share the word of God in a way that just resonates in the world that we live in now, where things that are true seems not to be true anymore. When I was growing up, like, right was right and wrong was wrong. There was nothing like my truth, your truth, a truth. It was just their truth, right? But now, even at my age, there are sometimes I'm in doubt. Is this thing really true? Or, the lines are so blurred sometimes that you actually don't even know what is true sometimes, right? So I just thought that maybe sharing on this, we also reaffirm my own faith, So I guess this is more for me than even for folks that are joining today.
Interesting. And thank you for making it to MIT, because that's the reason why we have a lady in our midst today, my dear sister from Futa. She applied to MIT like 14 years ago. And so when she saw MIT, she was like, yes, this is my event. So thank you for being a representative there.
Oh, wow. That's so kind to hear that. And my goal today is not to talk a lot. My goal is to actually get more questions and then interact. So maybe for like 10-15 minutes, I'm going to just share a couple words from scripture and then just take more questions, because I think it's more useful that way than just go full blast and just talk. I don't want to do that. So it's really to be able to share and just hear from people and provide a lot of feedback. Yeah. So like I said, it's really, I just want to talk to you about like our faith.
Sorry, before I go too far, this is being recorded and it's to be on YouTube. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
All right, sir. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Our faith is very, very important. And I think that it's about the only precious thing that we have, and we really need to guide it jealously. But while we do that, we also find ourselves in work environments that is changing with time. And sometimes I ask myself, like, what is really going on? Is there a conflict between my work and my faith? And if that happens, how do I deal with it? How do I handle that? And one scripture that comes to my mind very quickly that I was looking over when I woke up this morning and maybe last night was James 1 verse 17. James 1:17. So I don't really like if someone could read it, or James 1:17. So it says, verse 17 says, every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and comes down from the Father of light, with whom there is no variation or shadow of turning. My emphasis is on the last part, in which there is no variation or shadow of turning. So it turns out that we can change, the world can change, but the author of our faith never changes. And for me, I think that is really powerful. Just the fact that we have a source who never really changed gives me this anchor for my soul that if everything around me is changing, right, and the one who is the anchor for my soul is not changing, it means that I have a baseline not to change. And the word anchors comes usually from like putting a boat to steal when you are at sea. You get to dock, and then you put the anchor, and what happens is that the anchor go deep down into the root of the sea and just grab to some spot where it cannot come up, so that irrespective of the storm, irrespective of the changes at the sea, the anchor never lets go, right? So just because God is the anchor for us, so means that in this ever-changing world, right, where things are happening, several things just going on, things that is so wild sometimes. You're really wondering that what is happening to our humanity, right? The sucker is that the one who owns our soul, he doesn't change, right? He never changed. And for me, that is a lot of hope. That is a lot of succor. Just knowing that I have a God who is consistent all the time. I have a God whose philosophy never changes. That I have a God who, irrespective of how the goalpost is shifting, right, about morality, we have a God who, irrespective of how the world system is changing, right, he just never changed. That's, for me, that's really powerful. And just to know that I have a relationship with that God is mind-blowing. And you may think that is very simple, but just think about all the people you have around you over the years. Many people have changed. Friends that you've had like maybe 20 years ago, friends you've had like maybe 30 years ago, and it just turns out that you chat with them in recent time and their worldview has changed, right? People that maybe they were your mentor and you're like, what happens to this person, right? Literally yesterday I was talking to my wife about someone I know who is a news person, right? And about 3-4 years ago, he had a different view about certain things. And I was listening to him like 2 days ago, and he had a completely different view. And I was asking my wife, I said, so what really changed about this guy? My wife was like, only Lati Jeo now. You know what that means? He needs to eat, like he needs to stay relevant. So you have people in your life whose worldview, whose values have changed over the years just because they want to stay relevant. But I have a news for you. If you serve God who never changes, you don't need to change your worldviews about the truth. The truth is the truth. It's the truth. It never changes. And it's of no value to us to change our values to be able to fit in for any kind of work or any kind of career that we want to pursue. In the short term, it might look like, oh, you're getting ahead, you're able to get in. But you see, the people that you work with are able to read the room. They're able to see character changes. People may not agree with your values, but just the fact that you have values that you stick to, people will respect you for that in the long run. So living to play the long game is really, really, really important. So the first really important thing that I really want to us to go with is the fact that our God never changed. He never changed. Number 2 is that the changes we experience do not change God's love. God has this reckless love for us. And in a changing world, that love never changed. That love remains. And for me, I could do away with everything, but one thing I can't do away with is the love of God. It's just the love of God. And you see, everywhere I go, one thing that, irrespective of what is changing, is that there are things I won't let go because of the love of God. You know, when I chat with my students and they ask me, so Prof, what do you do with your extra time? What do you do on weekend? I'll say, oh, I go to church on Sunday. And on Wednesday, when I'm done teaching my class, I literally drive against the traffic to go teach middle school students. Those two things I can't let go because of the love of God. I work in an extremely intense environment. It's an environment where people are literally making new knowledge every day, you know. But for me, I'll say all this new knowledge must pause. On Sunday, whatever happens, I'm going to church, right? Very important to me. And that's because that's what sustains my soul, right? That's what nurtures the love of God that I have in my heart. So God loves us irrespective of where we are at and irrespective of what is happening in the world. His love never changes. His love remains the same. It's just that constant that we have in our life that we must really, really hold on to. And nothing should change that. Nothing should change that. Nothing should change the love of God for us. He is the source of our identity. He's the place we must dwell. And every time you remember the love of God, it should give you a room to pause and ask yourself, how will Jesus deal with this situation? Right? Do I need to make a shortcut? Do I need to change my values to get this thing? Is it really worth it? You know, if I put this vis-a-vis the love of God, is it really, really worth it? You know, and as you know, it's something I know we deal with so much. In fact, what that I live in yesterday and they are living in. You know, when I was growing up, and you know, I literally grew up in a very so I would say my parents started out maybe middle class. I went to a really good secondary school in Lagos. But by the time I was in my 20s, we had already left the middle class. We're already really poor. And that speaks to a lot of family today in Nigeria. They started out middle class, but now they are on the spectrum of they are below the poverty line. Not any fault of theirs, but just life happens, right? And at the time, you know, you're trying to go to college, you're up against so much, you know, you're writing jam and things like that, going to college, you want to maybe study medicine and you have to study something different. Don't worry, I deal with all of that, right? You know, finishing and then you're like, so what's next for me? How do I even get a job? Where do I even start from? Right? That was at my own, the terrain I walked in 10, 15 years ago. But today, that terrain has completely changed. The people today, the young people today are even up against a different category of issues that they have to deal with to get ahead, right? Things that were not permissible in my own, I'm seeing this generation interestingly, but the things that were not permissible like 10, 15 years ago are now permissible now, right? Things that, you know, back in the day when people talk about them, they talked about them very in their closet. Now everybody talks about it in the open, right? We now live like almost in a world that is with a lot of moral decadence, right? But the idea is that even in the middle of that, just remember that the love of God never changed. The love of God never changed. Government may change, government policy may change on certain issues. That still does not mean that they are acceptable before God. Just knowing that and living in that reality is really, really, really important. The third thing I'm going to talk about is this idea that the change we experience brings refinement. You know, irrespective of whatever you go through, irrespective of the word values that is changing, one thing that is very sure is that those changes will bring refinement in us. And what I usually say is that this changing actually revealed who we truly are. It reveals our values. I'm going to read First Peter very quickly. First Peter 1:7. First Peter 1 verse 7. It says, therefore, to you who believe, he is precious. But to those, just a minute. So 1:7. So I'm just going to read from. He says, in this you greatly rejoice. Though now for a little while, if need be, you have to be grieved by various trials, that the genuineness of your faith, being much more precious than gold that perishes, though it is tested by fire, may be found to praise, honor, and glory at the revelation of Jesus Christ. So whatever change is happening right now around you, whatever it is, what in this changing world is really to make you a better person. Consider it as an opportunity to be refined. Consider it an opportunity to be a better person. So I'm not going to tell you that the world system is going to align with your values. The news I have for you is that it's going to get worse. But you see, those who are going to become high flyer in that world system are those who are going to be able to stand and hold on to their own values in the middle of that. Because in the end, we want leaders who are able to have values, who have built character. And you don't build character without having to face things that you don't agree with. And it becomes like, what decision are you going to make? So when you're faced with these two different decisions, let's say you have to really say you want to go somewhere, right? Say you're aiming for this really high performing job, and imagine that you're faced with two options of like, you need to compromise this to get that job. Versus if you don't do this, you're not going to get that job. What are you really going to do? And these are situations you are going to face all your life. But you see, when you build your life on the truth, it may take you time, but you see, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I tell you this from my own life, that I was never looking for a faculty job at MIT. That was never in my own plan. My plan was just, I got my PhD, got a great job at Brookhaven National Lab, became a scientist, had opportunity to be an adjunct professor at Stony Brook University. And for me, that was enough, right? But God had different things in plan for me. But one thing I do know is that I love what I was doing, and I considered it a calling, and I was going to do it with all my heart. And I was going to put my best foot forward in doing it, right? And every other thing just worked out. So my point is, there are no need to compromise your values in this world, in this changing world. It's going to be tough. You're going to get a lot of pushback. But the idea is that in the middle of all that pushback, you need to stand your ground. So, like I said, my goal is not to make this a one-way conversation. My goal is to take the pause this money from younger people than I am. I used to consider myself a young person, but I'm already 40. And it turns out I'm asking myself, if I'm 40, I'm still young, but it's almost like I'm one generation away. And the things that people face today is almost like completely different from what I faced growing up. And I just want to take the pause this morning and really be useful to the community. So I'll take a pause.
Okay, from what everybody has heard so far, do you have any questions, please? Questions? Okay, as a warm up, I think my own question would be that, I mean, we are in this whole science environment, and so many times some people would think that science and faith are at variance. I know it is not true, but what has been your own experience? What does it look like being in that highly charged intellectual environment, and then you are claiming that you're a Christian or something? How does that go?
I think that many people acknowledge that there is God, and interestingly, there are also scientific evidence that show that God does exist, and I also find that even in the middle of that very charged environment, there are people who take their faith very, very seriously. In fact, in my group, I have like 2 students, white students who are Christians, and they are very active in their fellowship settings. In fact, one of them yesterday, we went for like a group activities. We went for a hike. In this place, one of the things about being a professor is not just like you have grad students and then they just walk off work.
Mm-hmm.
They are almost like your friend, your colleague.
Mm-hmm.
You bond with them. So one of those activities was we went on a hike, right? And it was one of them was like, oh, today was supposed to be a big fellowship day for him, but he just really wanted to bond with the group. That's why he couldn't attend. So my point is that even in the middle of those very rigorous and very engaged environment, you have people in touch with their maker. You have people who truly believe in God and who serves God, right? We have faculties who, in fact, there is a faculty program in June, July that brings all Christian faculty in the US together.
Interesting.
And this year I was supposed to go, but I had a conflict. And you have like people, your colleagues from like Stanford, from Princeton, Harvard, everybody we go to retreat somewhere. Because at the end of the day, we are also a group of people that needs to compare notes, right? And ask ourselves in our own faith journey where we are and how we can be useful to each other. And I also remember that when I first joined MIT, there used to be some guy who they usually will stand by the part of the road and they will share scripture with people.
Wow.
And I remember them actually giving me the Bible. So even in all of this environment, you have people who truly have faith and who believe in God, and who and the reality is that many of the scientists who have made big breakthrough in their own life actually do acknowledge that God does really exist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any question ready? Okay, I think I have to do my class trick. Nobody wants to talk until you call their names sometimes. Okay, Ayodeji, thanks for raising your hand. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. So I have this particular question, right? Because like based on the intense environment, like being a faculty, doing all those things, handling with our student, PhD student and the likes. And how do you make time to also be so consistent?
Okay.
So that's
So when you say consistent, is it consistent in my Christian walk? Is it
yes,
consistent in my
exactly.
life?
Like the Christian work, most
Okay.
especially.
So I'll give you an answer I give to my student, right? So when my student ask me like, how do they find a balance in their life, right? I usually do like this. I don't know if you see my hand, right? So the reality is that sometimes you're going to have many different priorities, right? But one core priority you have to keep is this idea that what got you here is God, and what will sustain you here is God, right? Now, in the middle of all the things you go through, are you going to forget sometimes? Sometimes I slow down, right? But that's where friends and family comes around. And in my own case, my wife keeps me grounded. If my wife sees me that I'm sleeping, that things that I should care about as a Christian, I'm not caring about them, she calls me out quickly. And I'll quickly eat the humble pile and and catch up. You get what I mean? So the point I'm making is that this environment can really have a lot of impact on how you balance your faith and the work you do, right? But having the right people around you keeps you grounded and keeps you in the right direction, right? Sometimes if my wife says that in the moment she's saying it, maybe I don't like it, but I will go back and reflect about it and like, dude, you need to do a recall. And for me, that is really, really, really important. That helps me to stay on the course. So it's always a case of me doing this, finding a balance, right? And the things that you find a balance for are usually like things that are your priority, you know. And I always tell my students and my wife that 3 people are important in my life. My family, of course, God comes above all, right? My family, and then my students. When it comes to people that when they reach out to me 2 a.m. in the middle of the night, that I will respond to, it will be my family and then my students. Because my student will tell me, Prof, why is it like 2 a.m. we are sending you messages and you are responding? I made this promise to you that I will be there for you, right? Outside of these 2 groups, every other people, I put them on the priority list and respond when the time arises, right? Otherwise, you're just going to get burnt out. And I want to be able to create the time to nurture my own soul. And as you imagine, this morning, I'm not in the house taking this call. I'm actually outside my balcony where I can see the greens around me, right? And when I'm done from here, my brother is visiting me from, he just finished from University of Notre Dame with his PhD. So I'm going to go on a walk with him to one of the beautiful scenic places around here where I get to see the turtle move in the water. And sometimes I post it on my WhatsApp page. And for me, those are the things that reminds me of God and that nurtures my soul. When, say, I'm reviewing a paper and I'm really tired, I just wear my running shoes and take a walk, and I will find those beautiful spots and just stay still there, right? Just stay quiet my soul. And that does a lot for my spiritual health, I know talking to one of my friends, one of my youth pastors in Nigeria was Prof, environment quiet soul like so this does my soul good. It makes me quiet my soul, connects me to God. Just seeing my environment and seeing the trees and the breeze does a lot to my spiritual health. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Your guy here has a question. David Bonu said,
David, that's my person.
Exactly. How do you respond when your faith or values are put to the test?
That's a really good question. And the interesting thing is that your faith will always be put to test, right? So you just ask yourself that, what are my values? What do I believe in, right? And once you're sure of what you believe in, you respond that way. And one thing I've learned to do is that there are times when I'm very diplomatic in my response to people, and there are also times when I'm also very blunt in my response to people. And my style, my approach is always like, there are few people in my life that when I talk with them, I'm outrightly blunt, but there are also people in my life that I'm just very diplomatic with them. But I'm not diplomatic because I want to curry favor with you. I'm only diplomatic because they say that right? There's a way you talk to people that makes them listen, and there's also a way you talk to people or correct people and they won't listen to you. So treat everyone as a full human being that is deserving of care, that is deserving of your respect, irrespective of who they are, right? I know this may sound a little bit controversial. I tell people that when I meet people, whether they are Muslim, they are Christian, they are Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, white, homosexual, whatever they are, what I see a full human being. and I deal with them on the basis of them being a human being.
Right.
I don't deal with them that, oh, they have this. I don't deal with them that they are. And I think this is more prevalent amongst us as Christians, where we see an homosexual and we want to just like deal with them on the basis of their sexual orientation.
Right.
Those are not my values. I don't agree with that. But
Mm-hmm.
I see a human being first before I
Right.
see any other thing. I'm going to treat that person as my brother. I'm going to treat that person as my sister. That is really, really important to me. Every other thing is secondary, right? And what that means is that I'm going to extend you the love of God. And if by chance I then have an opportunity to share my faith with you, I'm not going to impose my faith on you. I'm going to share it with you as a brother.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not in the business of, I'm not the change maker. God is the one that changed people.
Right.
You don't change people. It's God that changed people. And that's why the Bible talks about Apollos. Is it Paul sowed the sea, Apollos water, and God brings the increase. It is
Right.
God that changes people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I'm going to share the word with the person if they want to, right? And it stops there. But I'm going to treat anyone I see as a full human being,
Mm-hmm.
according to them all the respect they deserve, irrespective of what they do. And I think for me, it's one of the things that we have to take care of as Christians, especially as Nigerian Christians. Like you can't talk down on people.
Right.
Like you can't sit on some moral high horse and talk down to people.
Mm-hmm.
God has not given us that right.
Yes.
You have to treat everyone as a full human being.
Mm-hmm.
And I say this because I see people like sit on like very high horse and talk down on people. And usually I tell my mom, I say, I want to like every day they are the one that drink tea with God.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, we are all God's children.
Right.
So yeah. So I hope that
Yes.
answers the question.
Bono, is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Thank you very much.
I mean, to add a bit to that, right? I've seen how I've had situations where I had to live in wisdom with people who I don't really agree with, and over time I see them literally. I mean, there was this person during my internship in Futa. We had this 6-month period and everything, so we're living in the same room. He was way younger, right? But I think he needed some training, so to speak. So I could have talked down him just like you said, right? But I became his friend. In no time we became like prayer partners. Like he believed in me so much that we began to be like pray together and everything. And I still remember our time together very fondly. So sometimes we really need that wisdom to, just accept people for who they are and then begin to sometimes you don't even need to talk, just live your life in a way that at some point they come around. I think that's profound. Thank you so much for that. Gabriel Emmanuel has a question. Said, Prof, at what point in your life did you discover your main purpose in life without pursuing what is not worth pursuing? Please, can you kindly share with us some of the challenging times and how did you navigate your first, then application of God's principles? Oh, I think that should be your faith. I want to believe. And how did you navigate your faith, then application of God's principles? So basically, what challenges did you have to face? How did you know where you are supposed to be at any point in time and things like that?
The truth is that I don't. So I'm not going to be this guy who is going to come out and say, "Oh, I knew exactly what I was going to do." So the only thing is I tell people is that I have like a guiding principle that at every point in time, I'm just going to stay in the will of God, right? At every point, at every point in time, I'm going to stay in the will of God. And I remember years ago when I was in college, I remember teaching in our fellowship about the purpose of God, right? The purpose of God is not a destination. It's not a place. The purpose of God is is God's plan for our life. The purpose of God is not this one thing God wants us to do, right? It's actually a grand plan. And that plan unfolds over a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And the way to stay in God's purpose for our life is actually to just follow the will of God for our life.
Yes.
So it's not this one specific thing that God wants you to do, and it's just this one thing you want to pursue. Its purpose for our life is always unfolding, right? And the only way to stay the course is just to be able to know how to listen to God. And the purpose of God is tied to our passion. The purpose of God is tied to things that tickles our fancy. For example, there are things that all my life I've always been a book person, right? So I was fascinated by books. So it just made sense that I'm doing what I'm doing now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And book person is something different that really fascinates them. I've always told my friends that I'm not planning to be the richest person in the world, and I'm not planning to be like the president of Nigeria or the president of any country, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those things don't tickle my fancy, right?
Right.
So somehow you always figure out as you grow things that tickles your fancy. What are the things that keep you awake in the night? What are the things that really you want to see a change in? That's always like a pointer to the God's purpose for our life. And you see, it's also very interesting that it's also so interesting that you almost don't even need to be a Christian to know the purpose of God for your life.
Mm-hmm.
I know that sounds a little bit like, what is this bro saying?
I get it. It makes sense.
Yeah. Because everybody, God has given us a gift. God has given us, we all have passion for something. That is always the baseline. That's always the starting point, right? And when you're trying to then push towards this gift, push towards this purpose, right? You're going to, of course, come across a lot of like challenges. And those challenges are twofold, right? So, this year there is this thing called, is it Nepo baby and Lepo babies?
Nepo and Lapo.
It's Nepo and Lapo. I can't and you'll be, and so what I say is always like, once to get to your destination, to achieve your purpose, there's always a price to pay, right? Now, the price you pay is intimately related to the background that you have, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my kids are most likely Nepo baby, and gladly so, and I love it.
Why not? Yeah.
So they don't have to pay the kind of price I have to pay to achieve my purpose.
Right.
Because I've leveled the ground for them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. My daughter, she likes art, she likes acting, she likes theater, and even from a young age, she's already appearing in like shows on TVs.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. So when I was like 12, 13 years old, if I said I wanted to be an actor or something like that, there's really no way I have no baseline to start with. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the point I'm making is that the price you pay has a lot to do with your background, has a lot to do with where you're coming from. But the point is that somebody has to pay the price. So the price that somebody like me has to pay was very excruciating. I remember a couple years ago, it was on the night I had finished my master's degree, and it was in the middle of that, I was really crying. I was like, is this how my life is really going to continue? What's the direction for my life, right? What is the thing I really need to do? And I was really moaning.
Wow.
But I'm sorry, my kids will probably not have to think about that because they're Nepo babies.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell people, like, when I say, oh, Nepo, you to go and become Nepo.
Have you?
Like, I think that for me, if you say Nepo, I think that is actually very biblical, because the Bible talks about the fact that we will leave inheritance for our children's children.
That's right.
That's all there is.
Mm-hmm.
So if our own fathers, our parents did not leave inheritance, or our own grandfather did not leave inheritance for us,
mm-hmm.
it means that it doesn't give us a leverage ground to start from.
Right.
You have more work to put in. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. That in itself also builds certain values in you, and that's okay. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And for me, that's what I have to go through. But my children don't have to go through that. and I don't want them to go through that. So me, I was a Lapo baby, but my kids are Nepo babies.
Gladly so.
And so those pretty much are the sacrifice I have to make. But also, I need to put a warning out that those sacrifices are not the reason why we are successful. What makes the difference is actually God. It's the grace of God.
Because there are people that even did more than us. And yeah, really.
You know, and they are not. We are not making jest of them. We are not trying to say they've really. I know people have really put in the work, and it's just not working out. It's not really just about the work you are putting in. It's really about the grace of God upon our lives.
Right. Thank you so much for that. So I mean, if you don't forget anything, even if you're a Lapo baby, make sure your children are Nepo babies.
Yep.
I think that's the key thing right from that. All right. So Pratt is asking, should Christians accept jobs in industries that conflict with biblical values like alcohol, entertainment, and so on? I know that's tricky.
It's not as tricky. I will tell you that it's not even as tricky as you think, right?
Okay.
So I work in an environment where you go for dinners, and you meet all these really extremely successful and big people who are like they drink wine, they drink alcohol and stuff like that. And in general, I'm not an alcohol drinking person.
Right.
And I don't want to share. I know that as Christians, we've been taught that drinking alcohol is wrong.
Right.
But, you know, I don't want to go too far to say that this morning I don't want to share too much. I don't want to dwell too much on theology.
Right.
I don't drink necessarily because the Bible says no. The Bible says do not be drunk. Okay.
Yeah.
And I know people who drink and are very and I still think they are Christians because I've never seen them drunk. Okay.
Right.
But that's not my basis today. Is the fact that whatever thing you think you do not want to do, say maybe drink and things like that, I think your convictions will help you to deal with them, right?
Right.
And people are going to respect you for holding on to those convictions, right? I go to meetings where, like, because, for example, my colleagues, my white people here, they are very excited by alcohol, right?
Exactly.
I go to functions with them, and there's a lot of alcohol. And one, I'll drink mostly water, or I'll drink maybe some apple juice, like that. Like I'm on the table and everybody's drinking, and then over time, everybody just know that this is what I will not drink, and this is what I will not take, right?
Yeah.
And people just come to respect your values for that, right? And the world we live in, people don't disparage you. People don't mock you for your values. People don't mock you. Oh, he doesn't drink. No, people don't.
Yeah.
Right? But I think that you also have to draw the line in kind of the environment you go to, right? But one thing I know is that if you work in a corporate environment, people are not necessarily going to drag you to a nightclub, right? People are not. It's usually like a very engaging formal environment, and you have all these things, and then it's then up to you to say, no, I don't want to do this, and people are not going to force it down your throat.
How about working in, like, maybe, I mean, I know Christians who works in Nigerian breweries, Guinness, and I mean, I know Christians who are actors, actresses, not in Mount Zion films, you know, like, I think that's the kind of question this person is asking.
So you have to also draw the line, right? You have to also ask yourself, like, what are my values? Like, if let's say you're an actor, right? And they say it's make believe, and then there are many kissing scenes and things like that. You have to ask yourself, is this the value I stand for? Right? And you'll be surprised that there's this guy called Matt Damon, right? He's an actor in the US. He does kiss in movies, and he's a top Nollywood actor.
Right.
That's something that is very important to his faith. And it doesn't. And you see, the things that people focus on sometimes are not the main thing, right? Right. It's this idea that I know starting up is very tough. When you say, oh, you don't want to do this, that's okay. If this is the path God wants you to follow, even in the middle of you holding on to those values, God is going to open a door for you.
Right.
You know, the woman who did this movie, I think War Room was the name of the movie.
Yeah, Priscilla Shira or something.
She's an actor. When I say actor, she went to Juilliard. Juilliard is like the top, is the Harvard or the MIT of acting. It's in New York.
Interesting.
She went to Juilliard. She went to Juilliard with like the likes of Viola Davis and the Julian Roberts of this world. And then she stayed in California for a while to be able to get acting job. And she wasn't getting the kind of job that aligned with her value. So she moved with her husband to, I think, South Carolina. And when the people that just shot War Room were going to shoot that movie, they were looking for location, and in all of the locations they were looking for, God directed them to go to South Carolina and go to a city.
Imagine.
And when they were doing their casting, looking for people who will fit into the role, they tried so many people, and then when and for some random reason they tried that, and God said, "This is the person." And that was how she stepped into line. You know, so if you believe so much in your values, you are going to hold on to them. And there are certain things that are not worth losing our faith on.
Sure.
Not even work, really. I know I'm saying all this, it sounds so easy saying them. When you have to make those decisions, it's not so easy to do. It's not so easy to do. But what makes it easy for you to sleep at night is the fact that if you think about your values and your faith, you know, it then makes it bearable for you.
Right.
You know, yeah. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I hope so, Pratt. Yeah, okay, it's clapping. Nice. Okay, I mean, I just want to chip this in that regard too. I mean, there are people like David Oyelowo who are, I mean, is in his own right, is a superstar in Hollywood, Hollywood, and he's a Christian. Like, I was surprised when I heard, you know, if you follow me on social media, I post a lot about Nicky Gumbel. I mean, because I use his daily devotional, so I have posts from him every day. So I listen to a video I mean, there was this time, I think it was in Nigeria with Pastor Godman Akelabi at the Elevation Church. And these kind of questions were coming up, like Christians in theater, Christians in all these places. And he made mention of Oyelowo, who got married in his church. I think he was attending HTB in the UK. And he had his marriage counseling, committed to faithfulness. Like, he and his wife, you can see they are very exemplary. And it's right there in Hollywood. So I think we have examples like that, and God wants much more of those examples. And I really like the idea of Daniel. I think, I mean, if you want to look at it, I don't think any system can be as corrupt as the Babylon of those days. That was the peak of it. And Daniel was there with his friends, and they stood for God. I think, so if God is calling you to entertainment, well, I mean, I started buying shares in 2004, for instance, and I just feel that I don't want to invest in any alcohol company. That's me. Of course, like the Bible is very clear. Drinking alcohol is not a sin, but drunkenness is a sin. So, but my own argument is, if I know that if you cannot get drunk if you don't drink. So, I mean, that's my thing. So, but we need to understand, you know, accurately like this. So, Jubril Emmanuel has another question. He says, "How did you navigate first outside God?" No, is it first outside God or something? How did you navigate first outside God, then before applying God's principles? I don't understand.
Yeah, can you clarify that a little bit?
Jibril, do you want to tell us what's this question about? How did you navigate first outside God, then before applying God's principles? I think there should be nothing outside God in the first place, if you ask me. But Jibril, what do you mean? Emmanuel? I guess he's not able to talk. Okay, John Bull is here. He's saying someone has to pay the price for generational wealth. Okay. Oh, yeah. That's it. I think he's just taking his own notes. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Maybe I've been thinking. This is one question I've been thinking about too. You know, I mean, most of us Nigerians that went to the university were mostly, of course, I mean, in this circle, for instance, we're mostly fellowship boys and girls and all that. And then over time, people go to the US, UK, and all these places. And then they begin to, just like you said, they begin to sound somehow, you're like, hey, Did that? I mean, for me, I used to assume a lot that we're in the same fellowship, and then these are the things we believe, and then you see a brother doing something, and you're like, hey, were we there together? What happened? Like, do you have an idea what happened in those cases?
I think that the reason is because that when we're in fellowship, we're living in a bubble, right?
I see that.
Right, like you didn't make. I think that when we are in fellowship, you did not make room for people to have opportunity to behave otherwise, right?
Okay.
Like I had cases like you have like people dating one person in school, and then they were with that person, faithful to that person, and then they leave the gate of the school, and then they're like, what's going on here?
So the relationship ended at the gate, like they say.
Yeah, and that's just because they were just living in a bubble.
Right.
So if you are here and you are in college or you are done with college, see, one of the guiding principles of life that I've learned is this, which my wife is like, to be very brutally honest with yourself.
Exactly.
Like, don't be pretentious about what you want. If this is not the lifestyle you want, chances are that you have an opportunity for people to minister to your soul when you are honest in school. Where like you are not hiding under the shadow, you are like, this is me. So we will know the direction to pray. Just living in this bubble with other brethren, and then so the idea is the first that, like, just you were never with us in the first place.
Right.
People who have convictions don't really change overnight, right?
I see that.
It's always that people have just been the way they are, but it's just that they are very good at masking it and just being among the brethren and just tagging along with the brethren. We used to have this brother back in the days when I was in fellowship. He was our bus driver. He used to drive our bus. In fact, when I became president, I asked them to remove him because I was like, this guy has done this thing for too long, right? And then he said, one of our sisters. And the first thing I heard was like he was going to force us to remove the girl's pants. I'm like, brother, like me now. But the point is that his brother was never among us to start with.
Wow.
He was just acting to be among us. Right? And things like, for me, when I was in school, even when I became a president of the fellowship, I don't believe in living in bubble. Right? So when you become president, you are like almost like higher than your friends.
Yeah, Papa, people are serving you left and right.
I'm like, what's going on here? They were okay, sha. So all my friends that I had, right? We used to go and eat fried yam somewhere with akara. So they said I'm not going to go. I said, Emma, you're me president. These are my friends. We've come along with their Christians. I can't let my friends go. So me, I was going to use my akara and my kose. That's akara, my. No, they'll say, no, President, you cannot fetch water. I still fetch my own water.
Exactly.
And when I go to fetch my water, they'll say, let us help you to carry. I said, Molowo Mijeji now. And then they'll say, you cannot wear jeans now. You have to wear plain pants. I said, no, there's nowhere in the Bible that says that. Plus, I'm a student. This is more functional for me. So the point I'm trying to make is that don't let anybody impose any
rules. Yeah.
Till today, one of my friends, what he tells me is we are still brothers, Christians. You will like Elijah. One of the things that sealed our friendship that I will never forget was the fact that he became president in RCF and you did not abandon all of us. I said, but why will I abandon you? You are my friend now.
Interesting.
You get what I mean? I said, because the idea is that even when I was the so-called president, if I was doing something wrong, you guys can look me in the eyeball to eyeball.
Yes.
Tell me the truth. If I'm going astray, I need my friends to be able to tell me that guy, try.
Exactly.
So if I cut you people off, that will be the beginning of my own iparu. So what happens to people that change their values because they were never with us to start with? They were in the bubble.
Right.
Like I had one of our Christian fellowship brother there. He left and then he impregnated one sister, one lady like that. I'm like, what's going on here? I'm broke like two sisters' hearts. What I mean, like, don't live in a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Be brutally honest with yourself.
Right.
And like I said, I've known my wife since my first year in school. So, and my wife is like, she's my mirror. She just tell me exactly the way it is.
Yes.
If I'm just not doing, you like, oh guy, you got to say you wow, okay, rara, hello, check around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and my friends too. Like the person I say, my brother that came.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we are not from the same father, the same mother.
Right.
We became brother in the university,
Mm-hmm.
and today is my brother.
Right.
And if everybody is not going to tell me the truth, it's like maybe 4 years younger than me. So like, pastor, but then saying, wow, okay, rara. You know the way somebody will be doing air for you, but
Yeah.
once you one sort of, yeah.
I but that but that
Pastor, you know, it's cost me pastor. Like pastor, pretend wow, okay, rara. I need Lati, no. You can tell like pastor, I need Lati my lossy gym to wow, okay, rara, wow, okay. He's one of the people that can tell me. You get what I mean? So keep those friends close to you, because this world is ever changing. But what keeps you your core, keeping the people who are closest to you, who share the same value to you. Otherwise, any one of us can actually lose it.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have to remain accountable. And I think, I mean, a running theme in this whole thing so far is, I mean, we need, I mean, like my experience in Futa was such that, I mean, I met different kind of ladies, for instance. I met someone who would be at my beck and call, that if I say jump up, they will jump up. If I say stay, and so I had to run away. Like, what if I'm doing wrong? Who gets to tell me? But my wife here, she'll be like, she can. I mean, her name is Margaret, and I always like to compare her with Margaret Thatcher. Like, she can sit you down. Anytime I hear that, I need to sorrow. It's like the world is ending. So you need to be accountable. And you see, one of the biggest people that can hold you accountable is your wife. So don't marry a wife that sees you as that prince in Coming to America.
Yeah.
So Pratt again says, oftentimes we hear about calling, vocation, and career. Are they the same thing with different appellations, or they are different? Interesting question. Wow.
Oh, that's a very good question. So I think that it depends on who you are asking, right? For some people, their calling is different from their career. Like, they have this idea that their calling is like maybe they are doing a ministry and stuff, like things like that. But for somebody like me, I always say like my calling is teaching and what I do. So your career can be your calling. And when I say call your calling, it means like this thing what allows you to glorify God, allow you to point people to Jesus. You know, but for some person, they have this idea that their calling is different from their secular job, right? But they can be one and the same. Because at the end of the day, what God has called us to do is to be an ambassador wherever we find ourselves, right? So in your workplace, you can be an ambassador. And if you're able to be an ambassador in your workplace, that is your calling. Okay? And God can use any tool to achieve the purpose. And whatever tool God has put in your hand that can be used to achieve the purpose of God is a calling. Okay? So whatever we do is just a tool in God's hand. But then it's up to us to allow God to use that tool, right? So this idea that, okay, Monday to Friday, I'm doing my work, and then Saturday and Sunday, I am doing my calling in church. It's not necessarily, they are one and the same. Our calling is a way of life that we live. It's part of our life every day. So whatever you do can be your calling, as long as it allows you to bring people to Jesus. It allows you to be an ambassador of God in that particular place you are functioning. So I hope that answers the question.
I think that should be really helpful. So we're basically saying that as a Christian, fundamentally, our calling is to know Jesus and to make him known to others. Fundamentally. So if you're now a teacher, a professor, a whatever, so and sometimes you also conflict the idea of ministry with having to hold the mic in the church. In fact, the church is where you are groomed to go and do ministry outside, which is basically, so as an electrician, as a plumber, as whatever, the people you come across, you can then, in fact, through your excellence, through your witness to them, they can then know that, oh, there's something this guy knows that we need to follow. So I think, of course, maybe there's something you are doing at a point in time to make money. So if you like, you can call it your job, you can call it your profession or anything, but at the core of it is you need to know Jesus and make Jesus known. Right. So Jubril Emmanuel is here again. He says, hello, sir. Is it worth taking one's life because of not being able to achieve a desirable career or inability to function under God's purpose? A lot of young people are committing suicide because of it. Please share in case you have or know anyone that did or almost did.
My brother, there's nothing losing your life over. There's nothing losing your life over. One thing I'll tell you is that we know we live in a lot of mirage. And I'll tell you something. If I tell you about my life, you probably don't want my job.
Wow.
I'm not kidding. If I tell you about my life, you probably don't want my job.
Wow.
Let me say that again. Maybe it will sink in. If I tell you about my life, you don't want my job. You don't want my job. So what that means is that there is nothing worth losing your life for.
Right.
You know, there are a lot of mirage out there in the world that makes us think that having this plum job is the be all and all. But there's so much to our lives than my battery is becoming low, so I need to go inside and charge it.
Okay.
So you know, God is the most important thing in our life. And there's nothing in this world that is worth losing your heart, using your life or your soul for. And that's because as long as we are alive, okay, God's faithfulness will outweigh all our travails.
Yes.
God's faithfulness will outweigh all our travails. And sometimes I think we sometimes want the job that God does not want for us. And we sometimes just think that we need to have this particular job to be the most successful person. You know, one of my friends, we went to college together. One of my closest friends, John, is a university lecturer in the College of Education in Kogi State. One of the happiest person I know, who is contented.
Wow.
Does that make him less successful than me? No. When every time we meet and we chat, we don't chat on the level of anything. My brother, this is my friend. You get what I mean? So this idea that you need to have this particular job to be a successful person, that is not true. And so nothing in this world is worth losing your soul over. You know, you get what I mean? Like nothing in this world. Like nothing in this world that is worth losing our soul over. So I'll say to you, whatever it is that you have to deal with, right? Losing your soul, losing your life is not part of the bargain. You know what I mean? Like losing your life is not part of the bargain.
Yes.
Like being comfortable in your calling, comfortable in what God has called you to do is the most important thing. And it could be that what God has called you to be is to be a secondary school teacher. And I'll tell you what, I was a secondary school teacher for many years. One of the things I've enjoyed doing in my life was teaching. different level. And when I was doing it, I enjoyed it a lot. Okay, so you don't have to be like a full stack developer in Apple to be like the most successful person. I have like a lot of friends who work in Meta, who work in Google, who work in all of these big places. And when we come out, we are actually just tired.
Imagine.
You know, because the rigor of keeping up with the job sometimes can be very telling on you, right? And many years ago, TDJ talked about this idea of like, can you stand to be blessed? Have you built have you built the foundation to withstand the pressure of this next level that you want? So you probably like the idea of that next level, but you probably don't need to be at that next level. And you can make all the impacts you can make at the level you are right now. Is it wrong to aspire for more? There's nothing wrong with that. But is it worth losing your soul over? No, it's not. Is it worth losing your life over? Nothing in this world is worth losing your life over. You get what I mean?
Yes.
Nothing, like literally nothing. And it's coming from someone who have seen it all. When about I've learned to abound and I've learned to abase, this is me. Okay? I've had job of 7,000 naira before.
Wow.
Okay? And I've had job of whatever amount you can talk about. So I've seen both spectrum, and I can tell you that when I was in both spectrum, I was the active person in my job.
Interesting.
When I had my master's degree, I used to teach part-time in a school. They were paying me 40,000 naira. Okay. And then when I leave that place, I will go and do some work for Society for Family Health.
SFH.
And then in the evening, I'll sometimes go and teach some classes to make ends meet.
Wow.
And so I was keeping like 3 jobs. And I remember that time when I get down at the Yanopaja bus stop, there's this place like I'll buy like 2 the money. I'm telling you this to tell you that I've learned to abase. I've seen both sides of the spectrum. And you see, when I was doing this job, bro, I was the happiest person in the world.
Wow.
Like, you can make maximum impact in whatever state you are right now. Nothing in this world is worth losing your soul for. And whatever God has placed in your hand now, God is actually using it to build character in you.
Yes.
So it's not a mistake. If you take your life, it's all end. That's the end. There's no room to aspire anymore. And there's nothing you are going through that nobody has been through before, if not even worse. So my brother, nothing in this world is worth losing your soul. Nothing. So I hope that helps.
Yes, sir. In fact, that reminds me of our 11th virtual meetup. We did that December 2024. The title was Rising from the Ashes. So I intentionally brought that up because I think it must have been 2013, 2014 when that time maybe I was graduate assistant or assistant lecturer in FUTA, and I met this guy, he was in math department, and he had so much carryover that I didn't even know how he was going to. Like, I was not in his shoes, but just hearing the story alone, I was tired on his behalf. So, but then this guy, he just kept going, and somehow when Real Boys Forum started, almost 10 years after, I mean, our model for joining Real Boys Forum is very simple. I never invited anybody personally to Real Boys Forum. I just put the link out because I believe mentorship is more effective if the person wants to be mentored. So I don't go about looking for mentees. Like, if you come to me, I know maybe you have seen something. So I just post it out, on social media. And right now we have 287 members on WhatsApp, and they all came voluntarily or maybe by referral or something like that. So I just saw him. We walked in one day, and into the group, And from there, when we started having conversations, he would also contribute. And I discovered, wow, I mean, his contributions are so full of wisdom and everything. So at some point, I just wondered, how did this guy pull through this thing? So that was why we invited him he was our guest. He's a member of RBF. And he was our guest for that event, Rising from the Ashes. And the way he went about it, so he just went through all those seasons. He had to change department. He spent 9 years for a 5-year course and everything. And today he handles some of the biggest events that we hear of in Nigeria. And because he was able to go through, and one thing I just learned from that thing is, like they say, now who give up, mess up. Right? I mean, it's a stronger word they use, but I think mess up is better here. So now, if you don't give up, there's definitely always light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, that kind of thing was worth him taking his life, as far as some people were concerned. But he was able to pull through that season, and today is a big testimony. In fact, one thing pressure does for us is that it makes us, because of the experience, you have been so refined that people look at you and they want to be like you. They don't know what you've been through. Just like what Prof said initially, that if you know his life, you don't want to even have his job. It's because sometimes some hardship is preparing you for the ultimate plan of God. And if you end it, how would you ever find out what that thing is? So I think all we just need to do is, no matter what, just hold on to God, keep following him. You may not even understand, just make sure you are following God every step of the way, and you'll be surprised. You may be our next speaker sometime soon to talk about this kind of thing. Because I mean, for anybody you see in any top position, I mean, should I tell you my story? Thank God, people like I have people like Tolu here. I have Sunday Venance is here. I mean, we literally grew up together in a sense, and they knew the kind of family I come from. In fact, somebody said their family was so poor that they were poor because they couldn't afford the OR to make it poor. that was the kind of place we were coming from. There was a time one of my biggest fears was if I would ever go to the university. That was my biggest fear at some point in time, because one day I was on a bus, I think from Badagry to, then I did diploma in marine engineering on the Isle of Victoria Island. And so one day I was going on this bus, and the conductor was speaking very good English. Now, so I just look at myself that, God, hope this is not how I'm going to end too. So those kind of times come, but make sure you don't. If you think you won't find out what God has for you. But keep your head above the waters. Never allow the flood to overwhelm you. If you need support, ask for support. And support doesn't even need to be money. It can even be just this kind of talk like this. And then you'll imagine you'll be so surprised what God can make out of your life. Wow, thank you so much for that. I think that's a very charged and emotional one. But thank God we have an answer in the house. So Sunday Venance, my very good friend for several years, sir, at the beginning of your speech, he said, everyone is good at something. What if one finds it difficult to know his purpose? What he or she is good at? That's a very good question, sir.
Yeah, that's a really good thing. So to start with is that everybody is good at something.
But
I think the difference is, like, sometimes you don't recognize what we are good at. And you don't recognize it because it's been a part of your life, and you kind of don't think that it's a useful thing.
Take it for granted.
So I used to have a friend, Sean Tani Momo. We went to secondary school together. Sean was in commercial class, right? He did not do French when we were in school. I did French. One thing with Sean was that Sean was good with words. He didn't do French with us, but he ended up going to Ife to study French.
Wow.
And excelled at it so much.
Wow.
And when Sean writes, I used to say that one of the finest writers I know in our generation is Sean.
Wow.
Like, writing comes to him naturally. And every time he writes, I'm like, Sean, only last time I compile on Kenny now. It's like, what doing anything? I'm like, my brother.
Martin, wow.
Wow. One of the finest writers I know. He's a wordsmith. Literally.
Wow.
So every time he writes something, I'm always sometimes I just go to Facebook and see his words. Another person that comes to my mind, I'm sure Emmanuel knows it, is this bros, Uncle Wusu, in our Oga group, right?
Is it Wusu?
Our secretary.
Yes, Umewenu, Peter Hosu. Yes, I mean, wow.
It's a very good writer, and I've told him before too, right?
Yes.
And you see, sometimes people have this gift and they just, oh, I don't know, I don't have anything. Because they've been doing it and they just take it for granted. Everybody has something that God has given them that they are really good at. And I'll say that in my entire life, I've never met somebody that doesn't have something that God has given them. Some people may have more than one, okay, but people have at least one. At least one, right? Sometimes it might be an unusual gift that you might think that is not valuable, right? I'll give you an example of a gift that some people have that it is now that we are beginning to recognize. Some people they are people person, and they light up the room,
right,
without any effort, right? Like they just know how to connect people. They know how to. Their interpersonal skill is just great. Some of us we have to make effort to connect, but then they don't have to. Now, if you look at that, you're like, oh, that's my brother. That is a beautiful gift. And today, many people have recognized that and they are making use of them. You know, I'll give an example that sounds very strange. You know, there's this guy, I'm trying to remember his name now. He's a good brother, he's a good friend of Ashake. Don't worry, you may be wondering, how do I know Ashake? I know Ashake because I still live in this world.
We know them. I know them too.
Name is Yemoli. So I don't know if you know Yemoli. So Yemoli, Yemoli, Ashake, all of them, they went to Ife together, right? So the gift that Yemoli has is that Yemoli is good at bringing two people together. Yemoli is very good at of connecting people. You may not agree with his chosen profession, but you know what he does today is to bring people to clubs. You know, is the one that make things happen in the clubs, right? So if you have a club, you want to have Yemoli on your retainer because it's going to bring high network people to your club to come and drink, right? And that is where he makes money from. Perhaps maybe he could put his gift to a different use, but the point I'm making is that for what is what, he recognizes that he has great interpersonal skill for connecting people and is using it somewhere. But flip back 10, 20 years ago, that wasn't a sellable gift. Right? But today, that is a useful gift.
Right.
What I mean, so everyone do have a gift.
Yes.
Everyone do have something that makes them unique.
I think a simple test I learned from Miles Monroe is that how do you know your purpose? Just ask yourself 2 or 3 simple questions. Number 1, what annoys you in society? Like when you just look at the thing and you're like, why are they doing this? Can't they do it this way? What annoys you? Number 2, what gives you joy? Like which job can you do even if you're not paid for it? You are so excited to do it. So those are pointing in your area of purpose. Using myself as an example, I mean, thank God I have most people that know me here, they know me for my teaching. Like for me, if I'm dying, wake me up that please come and explain this integral or come and explain this maths concept to me. I'll wake up first and do it before I go back, you know. So I'm just passionate. So I've always taught all my life. Like I've taught right from even primary school. I remember people used to come to our house. It was face my face we were living in. People would come and we'll hang out outside and I will help them with their assignments or I'll explain to them and things like that. So for me, even if I'm not, so I've taught so much, even when I was not paid, I was just enjoying teaching. So I discovered, oh, it's like this teaching thing is my thing. So, and can you now imagine getting paid to do what you already do, even when you're not paid, when you're not getting paid? So I discovered I don't like people like, okay, another area of this teaching thing is I'm in class and the teacher is teaching something. I'm like, well, is life this hard? Like, so sometimes we finish a class, literally finish a class, and then everybody will just come after the class and they're like, Emmanuel, they're colorful tutorial, let's go for tutorial. And then I'll take them to the tutorial and I'll be like, but is this the same thing this man was teaching us that we didn't understand? Now, see how you have broken it down. For me to maybe sometimes I was just getting the idea in front. And that's also another blessing I've seen from teaching, right? Some things I mean, I'm a restless person. It's hard for me to sit down and read on my own. But teaching will put me under pressure to really be able to deliver. So sometimes maybe permit me to use the word, maybe the dumbest person in class would just say, how about you expand that thing? And I wasn't saying that thing. And the person would just say it, and I would just apply it, and then they will end up calling me Professor Prof, and I'll be like, I'm just learning this thing here, but they will never believe you because the fact is you have solved their problem. So so when teachers are teaching and they're making it and it's not clear, for me that's annoying. So from there I know that, oh, maybe I should be a teacher. And it also applies in church. And there was one day I was in a Bible study group then we're using chapel. Thank God Tolu and I were excos in CCF my first in Futa. So there was this sister, what's her name again? What's her name? I've forgotten her name. Komalafe. Yeah, Komalafe. I've forgotten her first name. Maybe Tolu can remind me. So she was teaching Bible study, and as she was teaching, I was enjoying the thing so much that I was like, yes. So and that's one thing I've seen. That if you're under a great teacher, you want to be a teacher somehow. So after that thing, I just went to meet her. Oh, thank you so much. I really enjoyed your teaching. I think, okay, with Komalafe Komo. I've forgotten her first name. So after that time, I joined the Bible study class too. So by the time I started teaching Bible, okay, Tola Komalafe, thank you. I think she's in the UK too. Thank you very much, Tolu. So by the time I started teaching Bible study too, I didn't know that there were some people. Thank you. I have many CCF people in the house. Thank you, Dr. Poyola. God bless you. So there was this time when I began teaching Bible study too in the fellowship. I noticed there was this particular friend of mine. She was always in any class I was teaching, and it wasn't supposed to be because normally there was a way where we did the sharing. Maybe we just took numbers randomly. Somehow she ended up in my class. So one day I later found out, and she was like, she doesn't follow all this sharing. That anywhere I am, she will wait, and anywhere I was teaching, she will go there. I'm like, but this is wrong now, sister. She'll be like, I beg, just leave me. Because she just felt that anytime I'm teaching, she's just she enjoys it so much and everything. So you have something. So another thing that annoys me is chaos. Like when there's disorderliness, when things are scattered, when things are not organized. And that's why in most organizations I've been a general secretary more than anything else. Because for some reason, maybe all of us are meeting for the first time today. And they'll be like, oh, as we are going on, we need a secretary. And they'll just be like, can you be a secretary? I'm like, Egba, who told you? Naturally, I just like writing like that. Like, maybe not writing at the level of people wordsmiths, but I just want to document things. So from there, I discovered, at my core, I'm a teacher and an administrator. Maybe it can now be professor in university or Bible study in church or whatever. At my core, I've taught government, I've taught commerce, things I didn't study, I've taught them because I just pick the book and I'll just begin explaining. So I feel that if you can ask yourself those two questions, what am I very good? What annoys me that I think can be done better? Or what do I love doing, even if I'm not paid to do it? I think those can, and I think there's this knowledge curve that you talked about. So because you do it, because it's very easy for you, you take it for granted, you think it's useless. But no, it's not. People are making money. In fact, people that don't know 1/4 of what you know are making money off the same thing you are underrating. I'll take Dr. Periola at this point. His hand is raised. You have a question or a contribution, sir?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What if all the things that trouble you, what if all the issues that trouble a person are the type of issues that if they were to speak about it, they will get in trouble? What should they do?
Jeremiah people. Sir, maybe you want to answer.
The reason why I'm asking that is most of what gets me angry is when I see people trying to take advantage of another person. and this guy discussed some issues with someone recently, and the person said, "Hi guy, these issues, if you raise them, I'm not
We need to study law again, in addition to electrical engineering."
I can't do law. I'm not. So I don't get in trouble. What do you do if the type of things that make you very moved, agitated, and the type of issues that you can't talk about them openly?
Wow, that's
how.
I think that again, I always like a leola kolabo, right? Like many things moves us, right? But we have to be measured in our approach to responding to them. And I think that one thing that we've not done a lot of, and this is as Nigerians in general is like we always feel like to show that we are saying the truth, we have to be
Fight.
direct,
Yeah.
fight, become active, right? But it is not. I think most of the time you don't have to be combative. The approach you want to take is like see whoever is involved as a whole human being who is able to engage you and have a conversation with them. I know you're like, Nigerians are not reasonable enough for me to have a conversation with you. I've tested it out a lot of time. If you go to Twitter or you go to Facebook or you go to Instagram, and let's say people are actually discussing a very combative issue, and everybody is just calling each other, right? Just try it. I'll go to the comment section and speak with some quiet tone and respectful and say, I do value your opinion, but I consider these are my opinion. I'll be happy to engage in a discourse with you about this.
Wow.
Do you know what will follow? The person will come almost 100% on in their tone and in their approach to how they respond to you. I have tried this out on Facebook. I've tried this out on Instagram. I've tried this out on Twitter. I've tried this out on YouTube.
Wow.
But I know one of them, the person was just like, Esther. I was like, but this is the person that was like being combative with somebody, but suddenly it became like, hello, sir, can we have a chat?
Imagine.
The only thing that changed is like my approach in asking them. I was completely opposite of what they are saying, but I was respectful enough to say, hello, have you thought about this? Can we think in this direction? What are your thoughts? And the first thing the person said was to apologize. I'm sorry. Whatever you've seen before, this is not me. This is just me being agitated, and I'm really, really sorry. I'm like that. We all have our own bad days. You get what I mean? So I think that as Nigerian, we need, this is very general. I used to be like that too. We need to learn to approach an issue with very big degree of being measured. This goes to all of us. It goes to even our pastors. That's why when a pastor preaches on Sunday and they take out of their message to combat and abuse their fellow pastor, irrespective of the correction they are trying to make, I'm never going to listen to them again because they are speaking from a place of self-righteousness. I probably will not listen to that person again. You know, so being able to bring down the temperature is a skill. More learn it. It doesn't make us like our message more effective by being combative.
Right.
Yeah. So you probably don't need to get a law degree to do that, though, right?
I was imagining that because he has this very high sense of justice, that maybe he needs to. Yeah. Thank you so much for the answer, Dr. Periola. Are you good?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, I mean, I think we can't have enough of wisdom. Like one prayer I always pray is, God, help me to be wise. You know, so God can always give you a way to approach it that will be very ingenious, that you'll be surprised at the kind of results you get. So I think, I mean, that wisdom part is really useful. And talking about bringing down the temperature, I think somewhere in Proverbs, the Bible says that a soft answer turns away wrath, and that I think that works all the time. So yes. Oh yeah, we have just 13 minutes to go. It's been such a sweet time having this conversation. It feels like it should come more as often as possible going forward. So I mean, we always anytime we have a topic we think you should discuss with us, I think we'll bring you back again. But before we round it off, we are mostly okay. I mean, in the community we have people aged 18 to 40 basically, but then we also have mentors like Dr. Periola, like people who have who are, I mean, if you have graduated from the university, you are a mentor to people who are going to university. If you have got a job, you are a mentor to those who are looking for a job. If you are, for people like us who have got married and we have kids, we can mentor people who are just going to get married, people who just have kids, young couples like that. So these are the kind of people we have. So what will be your best set of advice, if it's okay to put it that way, that you have for people like that maybe they're just trying to figure life out, maybe in their academics, in their career, in finance, in marriage, and all that? What's your advice for people like that?
I'll say
sister has joined us here too.
Hi. My advice would be like, be true to yourself. Don't live in a bubble. Right? Be it marriage, don't live in a bubble. I've been married for 10 years now. It'll be 11 this year. And so people still ask me that, when am I going to write a marriage book, of marriage, or when am I going to give marriage advice? And I always say I don't give it, because I'm still learning, even after 10 years, right? But what I do know is like being honest and true to yourself is really, really important. For a career, again, I would say follow what tickles your fancy. At the time you're doing it, it might not be popular. It might not be what people care about.
I'm sorry to interject. Can I pick? We have 10 themes that we run through, so I'll just pick them. I'll pick one. You talk about it. I'll pick the next. So we can cover everything. So I'll start from the beginning. Academics.
Academics. Be committed to excellence and give your all. And academic excellence, you have to also realize that it's not everybody that is cut out for the four wall of a school. I think that people are better off going to a technical school, and that does not make them less than those that decide to go to a university. So that you don't struggle and waste your own time. So it's a case of like putting a fish on dry land and expecting it to swim. Is what happens to people that we expect to go to the university and excel, because that's not what they are cut out. That's not what God has made them for.
True.
So find your own calling and stay with it. I have a student in my group, she's doing a PhD, right? But a younger brother is an electrician.
Interesting.
Two people from the same family. So know what your own calling, know what your strengths are, and stick to them. It's not compulsory that you have to go to a university for 4 years to be successful. Spend a whole day on that one.
Yes. So I think you've touched on career, but career is the next one. What you said so far enough for that, so we can move on. Or you want to talk about career?
No, that I think we can go to the next one.
The next, finance.
Finance. I'll say that that's what Yoruba will say. Like,
so if your 10 fingers,
10 fingers, like whatever you're earning, right? Make sure to create a future for yourself, starting out by saving and then moving into investing, right? And now investment come in different form, and don't look for like quick scheme investments, which is very common in Nigeria, and people will know exactly that they're going to lose their money.
MMM
type thing, right? Their money. After MMM, there are still like 3 or 4 times that the same thing has happened again.
Yes.
And people know that they may lose their money, but they still put their money. So this, in my opinion, is not investment. Those ones are calo. They are just gambles.
Right.
So money into something that really, really do last. Right.
Yes. Fitness.
This is even myself. I still struggle. Being fit is really, really important. I tend to work out like maybe 2-3 times a week. I've had very consistent, no, but every time I forget, I go back to it.
Right.
Because the older you get, you really need to take care of your health, and working out keeps you really keeps you healthy. Eat healthy food. I told my wife, and I used to joke with that, I worked out all these years so that I can eat whatever food I want, and then by the time at my age now, I have to cut down red meat, cut down several different things. I'm like, but I want this, and I really just want to enjoy this thing. But do take care of the things you eat and work out. It's really important.
Yes. So leadership is the fifth one. After that, I think I have 2 questions, then I'll continue with the other 5. But leadership, sir.
We are all born leaders, right? And the test of leadership is character. And I say that everywhere you go, build character, demonstrate quality character, and you naturally will always emerge as a leader. Don't scheme your way to become a leader. That's not really a leader. But demonstrating character makes you a leader.
Glory. Yeah. So interestingly, Jambul is compiling some highlights. Please, you want to help us put it in the group by the time we are done. Thank you for doing that, Jambul. Okay, so Adeyemi, you have a question, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone.
Okay.
Good morning, sir. I'm so happy to be here today. I didn't know about this call, this meeting. I saw it on Jumbo's status
Lovely.
just about 10 minutes ago because I joined the meeting about 10
Jumbo,
minutes
thanks
ago.
for doing the Lord's work.
Yeah. So
welcome, sir.
when I joined, the moment I joined, I heard you were talking about something, and there's this question that's been on my mind for about, I think, 6 months now. I'm just trying to clarify it. So, sir, I would want to ask quickly, because of time, how do you balance purpose, career together in your journey as a young person? I'm 25 years old, and I'm a graduate of Federal University of Technology, Akure. I studied mining engineer, and I'm also practicing mining engineering presently. I work with a company here in Abeokuta in Nigeria. But then I have this passion for music. Yeah.
Okay.
I have this passion for music, and recently I'm so positive about everything I do. Basically in the mining engineering field, I'm very positive. Like, I have this positive mindset with everything I do now. I want to be better. I want to be great. I want to do great stuff. I want to be best at what I do. And at the same time, I also want to achieve the musical career also. So I'm just looking for a way to just balance this thing together, because as a mining engineer, I'm always on site. I don't have time, even to see my family. I only see them probably once in a week or something. So I just want to ask. I don't want to emphasize the question, but I just want to ask, how can you balance things up between your purpose and your career? Thank you, sir.
That's a really good question. I talked about the fact that some people have at least one gift, right? People like us, maybe we have just one gift. But you see some people, they have like multiple gifts. They can do multiple things. And that's a blessing, right? But able to figure out what to focus on per this gift per time can be a very big challenge, right? But one thing I've learned is that you want to ask yourself that which of these 2 gifts gives me fulfillment, right? And it's possible that doing the job you do, you enjoy it a lot, and also also doing music, you find it very fulfilling a lot, right? So the strategies that people have adopted sometime is like they have this main thing they do, right? And the music, they take it as like, okay, I'm going to do it slowly, right? I'm going to do it until it becomes self-sustaining, right? Right? Like they want to keep going, like maybe on weekends, they will go for like their band, they'll go and play and things like that. And slowly that might begin to evolve, okay? And I'll give you an example of one of my my brothers, Ayo. Now they call him Ayo Mike. So Ayo was in my youth church in Nigeria. Beautiful singer. He sings really well. He also studied computer science. So at the time, he was working for Honeywell, right? And then on weekends, and he started doing this MC thing in our church, When we do youth program, we'll be the MC and stuff like that. He was slowly doing it, right? Do you know that today, Ayo have left Honeywell and does MC full time? Because doing it one at a time on weekend, he was getting a lot of MC jobs from all the big events in Lagos. You will be in events that you have like presidents, governors in attendance. So it was just obvious to him after some time that this thing is no longer a side gig. This is my main gig. And then he left his 9-to-5 job and focused fully on being an MC. And he's very, very successful at it. In fact, if you go to Covenant Christian Center in Lagos, right, he's one of their main singers in that church.
Interesting.
I think 2 weeks ago, he was the one that led the worship in that church, right? And he does this MC thing full time now, because over time he just realized that this my so-called side gig or side passion is actually my main job. And he enjoys. You can check him on Ayo Mike. He's extremely good at it. Every time I'm always saying, I'm so proud of you. They've interviewed him in Punch, and he was so grounded that even when he was saying in Punch, he would say, "Oh, I started this in church.
Wow,
I started this in this church." You get what I mean? So don't leave your job, but don't leave your music. Keep doing it. It will become obvious to you when you need to let one go.
Interesting. So maybe you can invent musical mining or mining music. I don't know how that plays out. All right. So, okay. The other person was going to ask a question is gone. Our time is up, but if you don't mind, we can still run through the other 5.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So, marriage. Yeah, marriage after leadership.
On marriage, be honest with your spouse. Don't live in a bubble. Have brutal conversations. Be the first to say I'm sorry, and be very intentional about your spouse. Be ready to be helpful to them. Don't treat them as like you are their boss if you are the man. You are together in this thing called marriage.
Yes, sir.
And you want to do life together as friends, and be brutally honest with each other.
Thank you so much. Parenting.
Parenting, let your kids be one of the most important people to you. Create an opportunity for them to be able to tell you their mind, so that you don't raise kids who have double life, one outside the home. My children know they can come talk to me about anything. Right. My daughter will tell me if she has a crush on the boy.
Exactly.
It's totally okay. I think recently we had a family friend from the UK came with their son, and my mother, "Oh, this boy is so cute. I have crush on him." And then we will talk about it. What do you mean by crush? Right? And then, because even from the age of 10, you can begin to teach kids about the importance of Christian dating, what it means, what it says, right? You don't want to raise kids where they go outside, they are different people. They come to your house, they're different. My daughter is exactly what she is outside. She speaks her mind. She tells us, we will sit together on the bed and she'll like, "Dad, I have a crush on this boy," and we will talk about it.
Nice.
And I'll make fun of her. Does that make my daughter any less, or does it make her corrupt? No, she's not. My daughter is a Christian. I know that for sure, right? So parenting, what else is important? Be there for your kids. Sometimes work may take a lot of your time, but you really want to make out time for them, and you want to really support their dream.
Right. Thank you so much for that. Personal development.
When you stop developing yourself, then you start dying. Right. So spend time on your development. Read outside of what your area of expertise is. In my office, I usually have a lot of. I'm very big on reading novels, and I still read a lot of them. I'm currently reading through the recent book by Chimamanda, really good piece. I read a book. I read a lot of books from Ben Okri. They keep my intellect, they keep my creativity going. I'm able to think outside of what I do. I still get engaged a lot reading like a Christian literature. those keep me grounded as well. And of course, within my field, I'm grounded. I'm at the forefront of what I do, and so of course I have to keep abreast of what happens there. I know reading doesn't come natural to people. I'm more of a like a hard copy reader. Some people they do podcasts. Some people they like to read, listen to audiobook. Whatever tickles your fancy and make you to remember things, stick to it. It works really well.
Right. Second to the last, relationships. Of course, marriage is already taken care of. So with general relationships.
Be like treat everybody as a full human being. Nobody is less than you.
Right.
Even somebody younger than you, somebody older than you, treat them as full human being. Don't talk people down. Be very considerate in how you approach people. Try it out, and you realize that people will respect you for being considerate, being measured in how you speak to them. You know, it's not really worth it to speak with anger. You know, I think for many years in my own life, I will speak at the top of my voice, and most of the time it comes off like this guy is angry. But as a year, I just learned to speak with softer tone, be very measured, and you know, and that makes for a great relationship with people.
Finally, spirituality.
Everything falls on being spiritual. We are spiritual beings, and making sure that you spend time with God, even if it's not consistent. When you fall off, make sure you pick yourself back up and just get back to it. And building a great relationship with God is really what keeps our life going. It's what keeps us it's what makes us who we are. And so don't lose that. That's really important.
Finally, thank you so much. Can we show our appreciation? Use your best emoji. This is such a sweet time. God bless you, sir. We are grateful for your time. It's I mean, it's so interesting to have it.
Thank you. I really appreciate
thank you for initiating it, because you know there's a way that you have people in your life and you just put them in a corner that maybe these ones are just up there, and then I don't know, like, thank you for taking the initiative to talk about this, and it's such a blessing to have you. Everyone who is around, thank you so much. Adeyemi Itsunu, thank you so much. Amefule Chukwemeka, thank you. Dr. Ayakweriola, thank you. Ayedeji Sunday Timilein, thank you. Chime Buka Aforole, thank you. David Bonu, thank you. John Bull Vitawanu, thank you. Magbi Bankole, thank you. Pratt Ndell, thank you. Samuel Fadiji, thank you. Sunday Patrick, the sociologist, thank you. My dear sister, blessed are you among men, Tolulokwe Adewale. Okay, thank you so much. I keep mixing that up. Thank you for being here once more. Thank you so much for your time. We are very, very grateful. You know, for the sacrifice you've made to wake up this early to be with us. We are so grateful. I'll continue to reach out to you. I mean, we always are in touch. So thank you so much for the gift of access. It will interest you to know that I've never met him before face to face, but we had such a very sweet relationship. Thank you very much for all that you do, sir.
Yes, thank you so much. Thanks for giving back to the community.
Yes,
I think they're one of the people that I really have a lot of respect for, the way you take care of the young people, and you're there. Some of us don't get to do this, right? But we just make sure that whoever does it, we are able to support them and provide all the help that we can. And you should know I'm always in your corner, and always cheering you on to be successful.
Thank you so much for that. I do not take them for granted. Thank you for the access all the time. So next month we have another virtual meetup. So stay tuned. For those who are in the WhatsApp group, we are going to have another round of discussions. It's always a nice time. I'm so glad when I heard that someone say that anytime he has some issues, he just comes to the group, and maybe there's something we have talked about or that we are talking about that just helps solve that question. So feel very free. For those who are new here, if you want to join us, can the socials, could you help us put the link in the group, the WhatsApp link? Prof, you're free to go. We are very grateful to have you around. Thank you so much. God bless you. Regards to your wife, regards to your kids. God bless you. God bless all of you. Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you. So I'll just wait for okay, any of the leaders can help us put the link in the group so that people who are new can just click and join. So if you are aged 18 to 40, or you want to be one of our mentors as a man, or as a young man, you're free. I'm waiting for somebody who can share the link. Anybody like that? So if you came in late, not to worry. We're going to have this up on YouTube very soon. So once it's ready, I'll put it on YouTube. I'll put it on. I'll put yes, that's the link. Thank you very much, Jumbo. So you can click on that if you are new here. You can click on that, and it will take you straight to the group. Of course, there's a gate. There's a gateway because sometimes some ladies mistakenly come in. So we have to filter to be sure. Interestingly, for the ladies, we have the Real Girls Forum that they do something similar for the ladies like that. Okay, thank you so much. Finally, thanks for attending. God bless you. See you next time, or see you on social media sometime. I mean, we always post on social media with be it maths or RBF stuff or scholarship issues and things like that. All right, see you. Bye. Thank you. You can unmute your mic and say something before you go. Feel free.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so John,
Thank
I'll be
you,
with your highlights. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Chimebuka Aforole, thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you. Chukwemeka, thank you. See you.